What's up everybody, Islam Muerte Blanca. We are back with another explained video where we speedrun the retelling of complicated game stories with plenty of jokes along the way. Real quick, if you enjoyed these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, or don't. I'm not going to tell you how you live your life. The algorithm makes me say this shit, but all the love you do share helps motivate me to keep making content, so thank you. This time we're discussing Dragon's Dogma, and if you're one of those that can't spare the 35 plus hours to play, don't worry, I got you. The prologue starts in the distant past with this guy Savant, and he's hunting this big ass dragon. He works his way through the keep, fighting harpies and lion goats with snake butts, but then right before they get to the dragon, black screen. Countless lifetimes later, a mysterious portal opens, spitting out a bunch of harpies, and oh shit, that's a big ass dragon. Falling to earth like a meteor, it wakes up, has a quick snack, and heads out to ruin everyone's day. The main character is created in your image, or at least the image of you if you had a massive egg head and cool eye scar, and the game starts out in a peaceful fishing town. People are smiling, the Duke is recruiting soldiers to combat the dragon, but overall, life seems pretty good. At least until the dragon shows up and starts setting everyone on fire. Toasty! Your person ain't no bitch, so they find a random sword on the ground and rush it like they have a chance. Spoiler, they don't. Dragon yeets them across the beach and they manage to give the dragon equivalent of a splinter, but the dragon doesn't appreciate that, so it heads their way to fuck them up. Dragon hears, "Finish him!" and rips dude's heart out like nothing, then eats it like a jelly bean. Fatality. Well, he's dead. Game over. But not really, because some fucking how they're still alive and the wound where the dragon literally ripped his heart out is magically scarred over. Now I'm convinced dude is really Jesus because he wakes up 3 days later. Maybe, probably not. We're just gonna say it for the sake of the joke. However, he still doesn't have a heart, so now he's actually zombie Jesus? Through his missing heart, the dragon calls dude out like, "If you want your heart back, bitch, come get it. Newly arisen." And arisen is basically someone who got their heart eaten by a dragon and has come back to life. Out in town, a creepy ass portal to another dimension opens up and some random dude just falls out. Everyone's all cool like, "Oh, that's just a pawn. Go to this camp to learn more." Arisen goes to the camp, talks to a rock, and then the rock tells him that he has to prove that he is the true Arisen by killing this big ass Cyclops with a head tattoo and his goblin homies. The Arisen throws a couple goblins off the cliff, beats the Cyclops in the back of the head, and eventually it falls. During this fight, did no one notice the creepy ass Darth Sidious looking person standing right there? No? Rock says the Arisen is worthy and gets to select his own companion while also having access to the Pawn Legion. They're basically followers with no will and are dedicated to assisting the Arisen. Again, no one notices the creepy ass hooded person standing right there. After some rest, this big ass snake starts attacking the Arisen for no reason, and then another big ass snake rolls up. Hold up. That's a Hydra. Because he doesn't appreciate getting jumped first thing in the morning, he cuts off one of its heads. That one has a weird insignia too? Leader of the enlistment corps, Mercedes, is all impressed and suggests carrying the big ass snake head to the Duke. So like any good RPG, you partake in an annoying escort mission until you reach the capital, Grand Soren. At the capital, the Arisen is approached by this guy who suggests checking out the Pawn Guild. The Arisen heads there and speaks with someone named Barnaby. Barnaby explains the guild is the gate to the Everfall, an ancient place underneath Grand Soren that the pawns protect. However, since the dragon's appearance, there's a strange aura that needs to be investigated. The Arisen descends the staircase, gets tired of fighting the undead, skips the rest of it by letting the ogre take the fall damage, and questions why Benny here is being sus with the dead ogre. Eventually, the Arisen gets to the bottom, notices the strange light underneath the floor, gets ambushed by razor-toothed worm tentacle things, and has to dip before getting turned into a horror hentai. Barnaby's head ass is all like, "Oh, in truth, we didn't know shit about the Everfall, but the light thing is new, I think. We'll continue to monitor the situation." Really? No one cares about the tentacle monster that just tried to kill everyone? The light is our focus here? Okay. The Arisen is then approached by a guard who says the Duke was impressed by the snakehead. No good deed goes unpunished though, because he has more work for us. The Arisen quells a goblin horde, investigates some ruins, and uses a cryptic stone to meet a past Arisen that calls himself Dragonforge. Dragonforge because the dude's looking extra crispy. Toasty! He's also asked to investigate a cult called Salvation. They worship the dragon, and like any good cult, they have their meetings in catacombs full of skeletons and zombies. After making a bunch of undead more dead, the Arisen creeps in on the meeting. Oh shit, that's the dude at the camp. They summoned the Cyclops and the Hydra? And who's the dude in the armor? One-eyed Darth Sidious notices our guy, force pushes the balcony and breaks it, and then goes hard with the dark magic by summoning a bunch of zombies to help him get away. After running all the Duke's errands, the Arisen is granted an audience. Tink Wario brings the Arisen to Burger King, who's supposed to commend our guy. Instead, he and all his friends just make fun of the Arisen's stupid hat. Assholes. The Arisen tries to explain he dresses for stats, but nobody cares. Wait, brooding night guy looks familiar. After everyone's done talking shit, the Arisen gets knighted, but all the king says is that the roads are open for him as he helps the Duke fight the dragon. So basically, we killed a Hydra for a toll pass. As the Arisen leaves the castle, he runs into the Duchess, and her Princess Peach looking ass starts talking shit about the hat too. Bitch! We also meet Aldous, the Duke's Chamberlain, who will be giving us our errands now. The Arisen does more Arisen shit, kills a big-ass griffin, gets a clearly guilty man acquitted because he sells rare items, and changes his hat because everyone's making fun of him. For reasons we'll get to later, side quests actually matter in this game, so the Arisen also decides to save the cute goth girl, who's actually a pawn. But not anymore. You talk to the goth girl's Arisen's ghost and learn pawns are but shadows of life in an unending cycle. Over time, some assume their Arisen's form, heart, and ultimately become human themselves. The Duchess's maid also asked you to meet the Duchess in a secret because that's always a good idea. This bitch is straight crazy because before this, you had maybe a 20-second interaction. But Psycho Peach here is already in love. Soon after, Wario and Burger King roll up and dude walks in under some kind of trance because he's all like,
"Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?"
and starts choking her for no reason, yelling for Lenore's forgiveness. By the way, the girl he's choking isn't Lenore. Huh? She's psycho, but we can't let her die, so the Arisen stops the attempted murder. Dude breaks out of his trance, and this fucking bitch sells us out. God damn it. The Arisen gets thrown in the dungeon. Duke thinks homegirl is sus, and after getting his ass beat, she shows up with keys explaining she had to do it or she would be killed. Then the Arisen just walks out. Even talked to a couple guards in Aldous as he strolled off. Water under the bridge, I guess. Aldous gives out more errands, including recovering the Duke's ring stolen by some psychotic mage that doesn't respond well to meteors or fall damage. And Mercedes also needs help investigating dark happenings at a fort led by Lord Julian. He's the brooding night guy that looks familiar because he's also the masked guy at the Salvation meeting. Somehow the conversation turns into him talking shit about her hood. Mercedes gets pissed and then gets ready to kill Julian to rep her block and then tells the Arisen to stay out of it. But instead, she actually starts getting her ass beat until the Arisen saves her life and kills Julian. Mercedes decides to head back home and ask her kingdom to provide more aid in order to combat the dragon. Back in Grand Soren, this giant dragon rooster thing is breaking shit. It is also able to turn things into stone, which is total bullshit, because in this game, petrification is one of the few status ailments that needs a very specific potion to heal. You don't have it, your ass is a paperweight. After defeating the cockatrice, the Arisen speaks with the Duke who's sending him after Salvation once more. But first we need to save Psycho Peach again. The Arisen sneaks into the Duke's vacation home, tosses this crazy chick salad, and then literally tosses her across the sewers because she's tired from all the sex, or just can't do basic platforming, more likely the second one. After saving her yet again, she goes home. The Duke is crazy as fuck, and she can't stick with you because I have no idea why. The Arisen gets back on the main quest, beats up more monsters and Harry Potter cosplays, and runs into Darth Sidious once again, who's sacrificing the homies just to make your life more difficult. After taking out death mages, Sidious is spewing more cult bullshit until the dragon shows up and says what we're all thinking.
Shut the fuck up!
And boom! Curb stomps dude into a fucking puddle. Dragon's name is Grigory, and straight up calls the Arisen out again like, "It smells like straight bitch in here. You want the destruction to stop, motherfucker? Come catch these claws." But really though, he drops a fire line when he says,
"Heed the zealot's lesson well. When the weak court death, they find it."
Before leaving, Grigory says he's keeping the heart until the Arisen takes it back and throws heavy shade on Dragonforge by alluding to the fact that Grigory still has his heart. The Dragonforge tells the Arisen where to go, but before this video goes any further, let me remind you. Less than a month ago, this dragon kicked the Arisen's ass up and down that beach and ripped his heart out without batting an eye. Now, all of a sudden, we're strong enough to fight him? How? Cue the training montage. The Arisen works his way through the keep and finds Grigory. As I mentioned before, side quests matter because depending on how you build affinity with certain characters, the dragon will steal whoever's closest to you for an upcoming choice. Unfortunately, we got the Duchess. Unfortunate because I was actually going for the cute goth chick. She's less annoying and not nearly as clingy. I even maxed her affinity by giving her all my mushrooms. Bitches love mushrooms. Grigory offers the Arisen a choice. Risk his life to fight and end the destruction, or sacrifice the Duchess, for which Grigory will leave in peace and the Arisen will gain wealth and power as the new Duke. Hold up. You're telling me the current Duke is an Arisen who took Grigory's deal? Is that why he's going crazy? He sacrifices love, Lenore, for wealth and power? As tempting as the deal sounds, Grigory's been talking way too much shit this entire game. Cash these hands. Or we could just run away from, run after, and then ride the dragon instead. We won't talk about the fatal fall damage everyone survived. Now catch these hands. Grigory defeated, a massive hole swallows Grand Soren's living quarter, and he returns the stolen hearts, re-aging the other Arisen. The dragon forged old ass turns into dust, and the Duke turns into a decrepit old man. Finally, Grigory fades to dust as well. The Duchess is saved, and the group heads home, after she thanks him for saving her life for the third time. I mean, at least she puts out. Crazy ones usually do. Grigory's gone, but everything's still messed up. The Arisen heads back to Grand Soren, where the Duke wants to meet. He knows the Arisen met the dragon and thinks he took the deal. Desperate to remain Duke, he attacks our guy, and then sicks all the guards on him, claiming the Arisen a traitor. The Arisen attempts to flee until he falls down that big ass hole. Remember the Everfall? This is it. Because you fall forever, at least until you grab one of those ruined ledges. A pawn then approaches the Arisen and says to collect a bunch of stones to get through the depths. That's not foreboding at all, so the Arisen beats the hell out of a bunch of monsters, including revenge on those damn tentacles, and collects the stones. The stones are used to open a rift that sends the Arisen to the Seneschal's chamber. The Seneschal says simply, "Defeat me and become the keeper of this world." So basically the Seneschal's God. I told you the Arisen was Jesus. Well, if Jesus ever fights God for the throne. After fighting, the Seneschal offers a choice. Continue to fight or live a false peace. If the Arisen takes the deal and goes back home, they live peacefully while a disappointed Seneschal waits for the next Arisen to continue the cycle. If the Arisen chooses to fight, they approach the Seneschal and, oh shit, Savan is God? If the Arisen loses, their body falls back down to the world as they become the next dragon, continuing the cycle. If the Arisen chooses to fight and wins, he becomes the next Seneschal. As Savan explains, he was testing the Arisen's will. The dragon, the choices, fighting God, it's the fate of all Arisen, the never-ending cycle. Until a new soul fit to be the next Seneschal arrives, the Arisen is set to guide the world for eternity. Savan pulls the God's Baneblade out of his chest, says it's the only thing that can kill a Seneschal, and asks to be slain so he can finally rest. Honoring this final request, the God's Bane is plunged into Savan's chest, freeing him from the endless cycle. GG's, y'all, you did it. You're God now. But now all you can do is walk around your chamber, old home, and Grand Soren, bored and invisible. Being a god is the worst and makes you want to kill yourself. Wait a minute, we still have the God's Bane. Boredom causes New God to commit seppuku as he and his pawn fall back to the world. Pawn wakes up in the Arisen's body, and the Arisen's love interest, in our case the Duchess, comes to the pawn's aid as the sun sets over the land. Wait, we know from Cute Goth Girl pawns can take their Arisen's form, but is the cycle over? Did God really die? Or just his physical form? Is the Arisen still up there? Did Savan pull the sword out of his chest because he tried to end the cycle himself, or is that just where people carry everything in RPGs? Legend has it, Dragon's Dogma nerds are still arguing the ending to this day. And that's Dragon's Dogma. Still confused? Speedrun time. Get ready. Savan was an Arisen countless lifetimes before our guy. Killed the dragon and the Seneschal of his time, became the new Seneschal, and the Arisen cycle continued. Grigory was an Arisen that lost to Savan and became a dragon. The Dragon Forge was another Arisen that lost to Grigory and hid under a rock because he's a little bitch. The Duke was another Arisen that took Grigory's deal by sacrificing his love Lenore, and our Arisen killed Grigory, got the hearts back, killed Savan to become the new Seneschal, and then killed himself to end the cycle. Maybe. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what other games do you all want to see. We've already done a bunch of other explained videos, so make sure you check those out as well. I'm La Muerte Blanca, and I'll catch you guys next time.